look at how they play as a whole, they're so good defensively, one of the best defences in the Premier League. You don't have to score too many goals the other end. If they get in front, they're a very difficult team to peg back. I think Chris Wilder will be aware of that. He's mentioned about the transfer window, and they need to bring players in just to keep that momentum going into the business end of the season. But it is difficult. The Premier League is really difficult. You don't get many chances, particularly kind of the lesser teams in the league. Chances come at a premium, really. So you have to be very clinical. He's gone with McBurney tonight, who, as we know, scored a lot of goals in the Championship last season for Swansea. So you'd be hoping that he can come in and make a kind of an instant impact, really. But it's not just about the goals. How they play as a whole, really defensively solid, organised. I don't think he'd be too worried about the goal situation. Just looking to get back on track, really. Looks like it's 3-0 win, considering they have played City and Liverpool in those three as well. So they'd be targeting this game tonight. I'm sure when he looked at the fixtures, Chris Wilder, over the Christmas and New Year, he would have targeted this game and said, look, we need to pick some points up from this game, with it being a home game as well.
And again, as we were making our way to the game, we heard the news that Chris Wilder has signed a new contract, a new 4.5-year contract, keeps him in the club until the summer of 2024. Is that quite cunning timing from the Sheffield United board, just to whip up the crowd that much, bit more?
Yeah, I think they knew what they were doing. It just came out of the blue, didn't it? I think it's like 5 o'clock it got announced, all very kind of hush-hush, and I think it's good timing to, as you say, to kind of get the crowd going in. And I have to say, look, there's no other manager that's deserving of a new contract more than him. The job that he's done here has been nothing short of outstanding. Everybody probably tipping them to go back down start of the season, and they surprised so many teams with the way they've played, how they've handled the Premier League. Picked up some really good results. The away form has been excellent this season. So a lot of good things are happening at Sheffield United in a minute. The owner's fully aware of that, and rightly so, tying him down to a longer term deal.
Yeah, the two sets of players at the moment just out on the pitch in front of the floodlights, shining brightly here at Bramall Lane. Kickoff is still around about 22 minutes away. Much more to come from Danny Gabardon between now and then. We'll also be hearing from the two managers, Chris Wilder and David Moyes, in the next part of the programme. Stay with us. You are listening to Premier League Live.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast, Monday morning from 6 on TalkSport.
We'd like to build a bar and furnish it with booze, with champagne trees and cocktail bees and fountains of home brew. We'd like to buy the world a drink. Cheers! A bottle of Chablis, a whiskey sour at happy hour, a magnum of folly. That's a Brazil thing.
And a wine bar.
It's the real thing.
What's wrong with that?
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
The morning pickup that refreshes the parts other breakfast shows just can't reach.
Monday morning from 6 on TalkSport.
Spitspot.
It's a classic afternoon radio emission from the other side. Hawksby and Jacobs deceased. After a joke about Chelsea went catastrophically wrong and died, Andy Jacobs was transported to a parallel lunchtime netherworld.
Only you can hear me, Paul. Only you.
Only me and 3 million listeners, Andy.
Banished to spend eternity wearing white suits, unearthing spectacularly big-named interviews, and bringing a new spectral dimension to radio entertainment.
And occasionally materialising in ladies' changing rooms.
That was a genuine mistake. I thought it was the kebab shop next door.
Investigate the annals of Hawksby and Jacobs deceased. Weekday afternoons from 1.
I've gone. What does it matter?
On TalkSport.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
This is the time of the year where you've got to have your horses right.
Weekday mornings from 6
And you bagged them on the nose.
on TalkSport.
I'm Sam Matterface, and this is Game Day. TalkSport has your week.
in the first half against Leeds on Monday night in the FA Cup.
No, they weren't, but they got the job done, and second half was better. And you look at Arsenal teams over the last few seasons, they probably would have been out of the game by half time. You wouldn't have seen that kind of reaction. So that's the kind of the plus point for Arsenal under the new manager. They're working harder, they look a bit more organised. He's getting a reaction kind of from the players. He's seeing things that are maybe not going so well. They're managing to kind of keep themselves in games which Arsenal don't normally do, which is really important. So it's not always going to go your way, and they've been able and you can argue that City probably took their foot off the gas a bit second half as well. It was that easy for them first half. I don't think they actually wanted to go on and embarrass United. They just saved their legs a bit. So thankfully for United, they were able to put in a better performance second half. But that is the issue for United, the midfield area. If they can get Pogba back, then obviously that strengthens it massively, and he has that kind of creativity. But without him, McTominay being injured as well, he doesn't really have a lot to choose from, to be fair. Obviously Maguire being missing in that game was a big loss as well. Defensively they looked really vulnerable with Phil Jones coming in, bless him.
Bless him. That wasn't quite what I was saying at half time.
It's just where United are at the minute, Alex. I think a couple of good games and you're back to where they probably are, I suppose. So they can't get that kind of consistency, and look, that's just where United are at this moment in time. When they come up against the likes of the Cities and the Liverpools, they're nowhere near that at the minute, unfortunately.
Yeah, no Timu Pukki though for Norwich. He's out with a hamstring injury. You would imagine that United should just about have enough to squeeze past the bottom club in the division, but you never know. Tottenham against Liverpool is our 5:30 offering. Tom Rennie and Dave Kitson, your commentary team from that one. No Harry Kane, of course, for Spurs, ruled out until April. Jose Mourinho admits it's a huge blow to lose the England captain, but says he won't use it as an excuse.
I don't want to be here with you crying every press conference now. Everybody knows who he is.
In March to really go and seize upon Kane's absence and now down a place in the team.
Yeah, I think that's how those kind of players will be thinking now. The likes of Danny Ings, as you said, who's in fantastic form. Credit to him, and so pleased with him because he's had a lot of difficult seasons, last couple of seasons. I think 2 ACL injuries. He's had to work really hard to kind of come back. It's taken him a long time to get back to the top level, but this season he's been outstanding and single-handedly probably going to keep Southampton in the Premier League. So he'll be thinking that personally himself. If I can keep this form up, keep scoring goals. Harry Kane rupturing his hamstring. Somehow he's not quick enough to rupture his hamstring. I don't know how that's happened, but it has. But yeah. those attacking players in Liverpool got, they're going to murder them. So in a way it might force Jose to change something tactically, which might actually benefit them going into the game.
The old England syndrome as well, isn't it? A major tournament on the horizon, their best player picks up an injury. Seems to happen every time. There is a big trophy at stake. So Spurs against Liverpool then from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 5:30 kickoff here on Premier League Live. On Sunday, a double-header. Bournemouth against Watford at 2 o'clock. Villa at home to Manchester City at 4:30. And another Danny injury blow for Bournemouth today. Chris Mepham, we're hearing, of course, someone you know well from the Welsh setup as well. Sidelined for 3 months after picking up a knee injury in their FA Cup game against Luton. Eddie Howe must have walked under a lot of ladders this season with a number of injuries they're picking up.
Oh, you'd be hoping for a much better New Year, and then obviously he gets this kind of injury blow, and you do feel for him. They've had a lot of injuries. Nathan Ake, I'm not sure if he's back yet either. Everything that seems to be going wrong is going wrong at the minute, so I don't really feel for them for this moment in time. This could be their season when they go down, I hate to say it, but not in good form at all.
Yeah, I've got a sneaky feeling Nathan Ake might well play on Sunday. We shall find out. Let's hear from the two managers ahead of tonight's offering. Now it comes from Bramall Lane, Sheffield United against West Ham. Here are the pre-match thoughts of David Moyes and Chris Wilder.
Fabulous performance and result in the first game, away game in the Cup at Gillingham, come through that, and just looking at the manager's CV and what he's done. In England we're always quick to criticise people when it doesn't go so well, but he's a hugely respected figure in the game. LMA Manager of the Year twice, I think. His record from Preston to Everton was incredible. Everton top six continually. The vast majority of his career has been hugely successful, and definitely a different proposition with David Moyes in charge.
First and foremost, an incredibly difficult game, but I think we've just started to gain a little bit of confidence from our results. I hope we can show that in our performance. I think we've done a really professional job at Gillingham in the Cup to get through, and I thought we played well against Bournemouth, scoring 4 goals, and not conceding any for us was really important. But we'll be put to another test against Sheffield United. The manager and Sheffield United have done remarkably well, and it'll be tough.
He'll have had, I should imagine, numerous offers, and he's more experienced than myself in terms of picking and choosing what club he feels is his best job and his next job. All I would say is that there's an awful lot of quality managers out of work, so there's been loads of names in the frame for that job, and obviously there is a connection for the work that David did when he was last there, and the record that he had. I think he won 10 and drawn 7 out of so many games in a short period of time. So obviously West Ham will be looking for that sort of impact on the team, short and medium term, that David has given them last time, and most certainly will give them this time.
I mean, a new manager does take time, and I don't know if I would call it a new manager effect. I think it takes a new manager time to implement what he wants to do, find out enough about the players, and I think when you come in mid-season it's not easy to actually get a handle on things very quickly. But let me tell you, to get some wins under your belt as a new manager is really helpful. But ultimately you probably wouldn't have got the job in the first place if there wasn't some difficulties or some problems, and obviously we have to try and make sure that when they do come up we're able to cope and do something different.
Chris Wilder and David Moyes there looking ahead to Sheffield United against West Ham United. The two teams are lined up in the tunnel. That tells you kick-off here in South Yorkshire is approaching fast. Join us next for all of the action. You are listening to Premier League Live.
You've reached the voicemail of Alan Brazil.
If you're lucky, you just might catch the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
If you know where they live.
17 years with a tongue rough like a Wookie's, hanging out in wine bars with football stars and bookies. It's a labour of love when you work at TalkSport. Like Alan,
They call me the Tartan Pimpernel.
he does the show half naked in his underpants and simmet. He lives his life completely because he's just here for a visit. It's a full day slog when you're working like a dog. That's Alan.
Alan, where the is Alan?
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. Talk Sports National Treasure. Available across the UK in wine bars, hospitality tents, bookies, and occasionally on Talk Sport.
Join me Monday morning from 6 o'clock.
Hopefully.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Cheers!
Talk Sport.
I'm Sam Matterface, and this is Game Day. Talk Sport has your weekend covered as we give you a series of exclusive podcasts bringing you total coverage of the Premier League with a trio of top podcasts. On Thursday, myself and a legendary lineup of pros and pundits will preview the action to all 10 Premier League matches.
They were okay in spells, don't get me wrong, but I think it was a gamble that he didn't really need to take. So to try it out against arguably the best side in Europe, or one of the best sides, was, I think, really risky.
This is a game they have to go and win for me to show that they've bought well in the summer, that is their ambition for this season.
Allaire.
On Saturday, it's your verdict with me, Laura Woods, and Adrian Durham, bringing you all the reaction and the very best of the phone-in.
I think Sadio Mane had every right to moan. I am fed up with Salah being greedy. I know he's trying to make Salah score a goal, but my God, come on, mate. Pass the ball.
Salah steps away from David Luiz. Still Mo Salah, 3-0. Brilliant individual goal from Mohamed Salah. And Liverpool are over the hills and far away.
On Monday morning, it's the turn of the record book with me, Danny Kelly. I'll be joined by the very best guests as we look back at all the weekend's action, going down the odd highway, byway tangent as well, all on the way. Did you ever play against Mick Harford?
I tried not to. To be perfect, I never actually come up against him. I did when he was a centre.
You must have heard the tales about Mick Harford, the things he did to a centre half.
Oh, we did, yeah. But lucky enough, when I was at QPR playing centre half, big Alan McDonald got involved with him, and that's the time I said, Alan, you can have him, because it worked out. He is the one person that he would kick you, and you would apologise for getting in the way.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. Whoa. Weekday mornings from 6.
How to finish showing a minute ago.
On Talk Sport.
You are listening to Talk Sports coverage of Sheffield United against West Ham United from Bramall Lane. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Cardiff, Crystal Palace and West Ham defender Danny Gabardon. This is Premier League Live. Well, it's 13 years since West Ham last travelled to Bramall Lane, but there is certainly no love lost between the two sides, thanks largely to one man, Carlos Tevez. It was the Argentine's controversial signing, adjudged to have broken the rules over third-party ownership, that saw the Hammers hit with a hefty fine. Crucially, though, they avoided a points deduction, dodging relegation to the Championship in the process at the expense of their host this evening. It's a saga United fans have never forgotten or forgiven, and one guaranteed to add an extra bit of Friday night feistiness. It's already been a good day for Chris Wilder, who, fresh from signing a new contract here, knows his side can climb to 5th in the table with victory. Just the one change for the hosts, from the side beaten by Liverpool in their last Premier League outing. Lys Mousset drops to the bench, so a rare start for Ollie McBurney in attack. Henderson is the goalkeeper, Basham, Egan and O'Connell in front of him, Baldock, Landstrom, Norwood, Fleck and Stevens in midfield, McGoldrick and McBurney up front. 3 changes for West Ham from the side who won at Gillingham in the FA Cup. Zabaleta, Cresswell and Noble recalled. Diop, Snodgrass and the injured Fredericks make way. Fabianski in goal, Balbuena, Ogbonna and Cresswell at the back. Zabaleta, Rice, Noble and Masuaku make up midfield, with Lanzini and Anderson either side of Allaire up front. And it is Sheffield United who get this latest Premier League weekend underway in their red and white striped jerseys, black shorts and red socks, shooting from right to left in this first half in front of a near capacity crowd in South Yorkshire. West Ham in their purple change colours, shooting from left to right. Danny Gabardon, what type of game are we expecting?
Well, I think from a Sheffield United point of view, high intensity, it's going to be a quick start, second balls in our midfield, so important for Sheffield United, and then they look to play from there. David Moyes' first kind of big test as West Ham manager as well. I think a good time to obviously go and play Bournemouth, beat them, good win in the cup, but this Sheffield United side, they test you in so many different ways. Defensively with the way they play, or they overload the wide areas, and then certainly you have to attack well against them as well, because they're so organised defensively, work so hard in midfield, so they really do test all parts of the game. So West Ham are going to have to be very good tonight to get anything from this.
They have lost their last two, Sheffield United, although they were against the champions Manchester City and the champions in waiting Liverpool. They haven't lost 3 in a row under Chris Wilder since way back in December 2017. Sheffield United seeing plenty of the ball in these early exchanges, though. As I say, that Allaire flicks it forward to Felipe Anderson just inside the Blades half. Anderson back to Cresswell, playing on the left hand side of that back three, the versatile Aaron Cresswell. And here comes Masuaku raiding down the far touchline for the first time. Anderson back to Masuaku. He's got 3 red and white shirts around him, Masuaku, so he checks back and wins a throw.
Does look like West Ham are sticking with that kind of striker combination. Anderson up alongside Sebastian Haller, and Lanzini just drifting around in that number 10 position, but already just looking at that passage of play there, just giving a licence to get forward into that central position, almost make it a front three almost. So good start from West Ham actually on the front foot.
West Ham have won only 2 of their last 9 visits in the Premier League to the Steel City, either here or against Sheffield Wednesday just down the road. We have a throw in, so on the left touchline. It will be taken by Cresswell. Plenty of movement ahead of him. Bowls it down for Lanzini with room to turn midway inside the Sheffield United half. Anderson pokes it out to the right. Zabaleta just about keeps it in play. Big night for Pablo Zabaleta, the first Argentine to make 300 appearances in the Premier League. Scored his first West Ham goal against Gillingham. Looked as surprised as those West Ham fans who made the trip to the Priestfield.
Yeah, doesn't get too many, does he?
I take a deflection.
I do prefer him actually playing in a wing-back system. I think he's not getting any younger, as we say, and he does still like to get forward, but doesn't get back quite as quickly. So I just think the added insurance of having a third centre-back, him playing in a wing-back position, just allows him to sit a bit wide. He doesn't have to worry about playing narrow and looking after a central defender inside of him. I think that will suit him.
Here's McGoldrick down the left-hand side for Sheffield United. He was offside though, just straight beyond the last West Ham defender. David McGoldrick yet to score in the Premier League this season. He's had more shots than any other forward without finding the back of the net. The former Southampton man, he's taken a long time, hasn't he, to make his way to the top flight of English football, McGoldrick.
So he's had a good season without kind of the goal tally really showing that. Works ever so hard, you see there. He's a willing runner, will run the channels, harass defenders. He's had some good chances which he just, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to stick in the back of the net, but I'm sure Chris Wilder's still really pleased with his contribution this season.
Oh, Sheffield United in trouble here. It was a back header from Chris Basham. The goalkeeper Henderson came racing out, almost took out Egan in the process. In the end, Lanzini was, I think, flagged for offside. Just a moment of indecision, Danny, on the edge of the Sheffield United penalty area. I think it was Allaire actually straight into an offside position, and maybe a foul even by Lanzini through the back of Egan.
In the back from Lanzini. It was just awkward. Sam Baldock just put him into a little bit of trouble there with a header back towards him. Just had to turn and adjust his body, and was happy to feel the contact just in his back there from Lanzini and the foul given.
Long punt upfield from Henderson, but West Ham have won it back, and Allaire's been fouled inside the centre circle. Overzealous challenge from John Egan, the Irishman, and it will be a free kick for the visitors. Michael Oliver, the referee this evening. Chris Kavanagh on VAR duty at Stockley Park, was late from Egan, and it will be a free kick and a chance for West Ham to come forward once more. Noble, the captain, out to the right hand side of Balbuena, intercepted by John Fleck. It will be a West Ham throw, but it's been a really positive start from David Moyes' team.
Certainly started the game well, controlling possession. Felipe Anderson, he's been all over the place already. He's said, he's up alongside Haller, but he's been given that licence to kind of drop deep, and as I say, Lanzini then is just drifting into the position that he's kind of vacating, so lots of fluidity and movement already from West Ham.
Some very talented players, West Ham. They shouldn't be 16th in the Premier League. They're top 4 in terms of money spent since the start of last season. £118 million lavished on the likes of Haller and Anderson. They just weren't performing under Manuel Pellegrini. Here's McGoldrick turning into space just inside the West Ham half of the field, out to the left hand side, and Enda Stevens, he's had his heels clipped surely by Anderson, goes down looking for a free kick, and referee Michael Oliver belatedly gives Stevens what he wants.
Play by Enda Stevens, good composure on the ball. Jack O'Connell just playing the ball to him and just creating that overlap, weren't able to get the ball to him, just drove inside and got the foul.
Flex cross deflected off Zabaleta and behind for the first corner of the evening. Raises the noise levels inside Bramall Lane. One of the more historic grounds in English football. The atmospheric as well when the natives find their voice.
This is an area at Sheffield Utd we look to exploit tonight. Set pieces. West Ham have been really poor defending them all season long.
Norwood with a corner aimed in towards McGoldrick. Solid punch away from Fabianski. McBurney slides in and ensures Sheffield United keep possession, but it's back now on the halfway line with the fullback Stevens. Plays it forward to McGoldrick, and McGoldrick trying to turn away from Anderson. He does so. Sebastian Haller stretching out one of those long legs to win it back for West Ham, who maybe can come forward on the counter-attack. Here is Haller, needs a bit of support. Wasn't forthcoming. Battling back for Sheffield United was the combative Lundstrom. 0-0 the score, 8 minutes gone here at Bramall Lane. It's floated out to the left-hand side, and Enda Stevens once again will come forward for the home side. Looking for McGoldrick, the two not quite on the same wavelength, and Balbuena in the silver boots will clear it forward for West Ham. Noble brings it down well inside his own half, but only plays it to Stevens. Stevens towards the penalty area, looking at the far post for Lundstrom, who made a good run, just skipped away from him. Keeps it alive though, keeps Sheffield United on the front foot. Baldock away from Masuaku, high cross into the area. McGoldrick up there, it was cleared by Balbuena. Still West Ham can't get the ball back. Stevens now, left corner of the penalty area, rolls it out to Fleck, who's going to cross left-footed. Masuaku heads it down and finds Lanzini, and now West Ham will clear it. Lanzini with a good ball actually into the Sheffield United half, where he's found Haller. The Hammers turning defence into attack at rapid speed. Here is Masuaku on the left-hand side. Really intriguing battle developing at Bramall Lane. Here's Balbuena now for the Hammers. Zabaleta with the socks slightly rolled down below the ankle, plays it back to Balbuena inside the West Ham half. Very comfortable tonight, West Ham, with the ball at their feet. As I say that, Cresswell gives it away. McBurney with a header down. Lundstrom floats it forward, but Cresswell clears, and it's collected by Masuaku in the left wing position. Forward to Lanzini. Declan Rice on the ball really for the first time in these opening 10 minutes. Here's Noble out to the right, and Balbuena once more will come forward. Noble playing that quarterback role, but he's had his pockets picked there by Ollie McBurney for Sheffield United, and it's back now with John Egan at the heart of the United defence. Forward comes O'Connell. Norwood with the ball out to the left hand side, looking for McBurney, but just slightly too much pace on it. McBurney salutes the effort with a thumb in the air, and it will be a throw in for West Ham deep inside their own half.
Sheffield United just looking to target West Ham United's right hand side. We've seen David McGoldrick pulling into those areas. This time it was Oliver McBurney, and the only surprising thing really was Oliver Norwood not finding him with a pass. Normally very good in possession, doesn't give the ball away too much. Certainly looking to target their play down this left hand side and create those overloads.
Trying to do that here. Stevens slides to try and keep it in play. That draws the tackle from Zabaleta. It's another Sheffield United corner. I mean, you mentioned about West Ham's vulnerability defending set pieces. How much of that was down to having Roberto in goal? They did look a lot more solid from that last corner with Fabianski punching it well away.
Yeah, it never helps if your goalkeeper's not commanding, he's making mistakes, but it's down to the central defenders as well to do their jobs and dominate that kind of area, and I don't think that was been happening much either.
North with the ball in. Oh, and he's headed over the crossbar. Fabianski rooted to the spot. It was John Egan, the big defender. Unfortunately for Sheffield United, he got right underneath the header, but that was a chance, Danny.
That's a great chance for John Egan. I think he was speaking in midweek about getting off the mark. I don't think he scored a goal yet this season, and just drifts into that near post. Great delivery, as you would expect from Norwood, and he just can't keep it down. Almost hits the top of his head. I don't know if he's running at too much pace there, but it's a big opportunity for Sheffield United.
Yeah, first big moment of the night. Falls the way of the home side. John Egan without a goal for Sheffield United since scoring his only goal in Blades colours back in August of 2018. He might not get a better opening this evening. 12 minutes played. Sheffield United 0, West Ham 0. You're listening to Premier League Live in the company of Alex Crook and Danny Gabardon. He played an FA Cup final, no less, for West Ham.
And lost.
I wasn't going to remind you of that. Famous Gerrard final at Cardiff, of course.
Yeah, he ran the show.
What will the two managers have made of the early exchanges?
I think Chris Wilder will probably be the happier. I think they're the team playing with a bit more intensity, looking dangerous, I say, overloaded down West Ham's right-hand side, but West Ham have had a decent start as well. They've had plenty of the ball, plenty of possession, probably been a little bit sloppy if anything. Mark Noble giving the ball away a couple of times, which is uncharacteristic of him. So I think fairly even so far. I think West Ham will be happy. They'll be looking to get through this first 15-20 minutes, kind of weather the storm, expecting Sheffield United to come out the blocks fast, and then hopefully play their way into the game after that.
We've got a problem here, or West Ham have got a problem. Lucas Fabianski, when he took that last goal kick, he immediately, Danny, put his right hand in the air to signal to the bench that something wasn't right. And I can tell you, David Martin, son of the Hammers legend Alvin, of course, is already stripped and this is a major issue for David Moyes and for West Ham.
I think you just cursed him, actually, Alex. You're speaking about Roberto struggling from set pieces, West Ham, and I think that's a recurrence of the previous injury that he had.
It's almost identical. I was at the game at the Vitality when he did that against Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think he actually passed the fitness test for the Bournemouth game a couple of weeks ago. He was touch and go to play in that one. So it's obviously an issue that's still been ongoing a bit, and as soon as he took that goal kick, straight away his arm was up, signalling into the physio. I think he knows. That looks like a recurrence of the previous injury.
West Ham lost 8 of the 11 matches that Lucas Fabianski missed with that last injury. It does seem lightning has struck twice here. He looks absolutely distraught, Fabianski, as he makes his way off, and David Martin, who had to wait until he was 33 to play his first game in the Premier League, is going to be summoned tonight much earlier than he would have anticipated, and you'd have to have a heart of stone not to feel sorry for Lucas Fabianski as he disconsolately trudges off here at Bramall Lane, almost in tears, Danny.
Yeah, not happy at all, and someone myself who suffered with injury a lot as a player, it's not where you want to be. You want to be out there on the pitch. He would have been so happy to get back playing, a long injury layoff, and what annoys you the most as a player is if it's the same injury that you do again, because that shouldn't really happen. Correctly when you get back on the pitch. It's not something you expect to happen, but unfortunately that looks to be the case.
David Martin has just crouched down on his left knee inside the 6-yard box, took a moment to gather his composure, gather his thoughts, looked up to the heavens. It's a big evening for him. It changes the whole dynamic in many ways. We saw just how how important Fabianski is to this West Ham side when he was out of it. Here's Felipe Anderson, launches the ball forward, looking for Allaire. It's route one, but it could be effective. Allaire through the legs of Basham. He's going to get a shot off here, and he skews it right-footed high into the stands to the derision of the Sheffield United supporters. Allaire slaps the ground in frustration. He did the hard bit in many ways, Danny, getting away from Basham. He just made a hash of the shot.
Yeah, lovely little nutmegs to create the chance, but much better from West Ham in possession on the turnover. Long ball forward, long crossfield ball from Felipe Anderson, Sebastian Haller, all on his own, a lot to do, but just drifting wide of goal, and then a little chop nutmeg inside of Basham. He's just looking to bend the ball in the far corner and just shanks the shot really under pressure from a Sheffield United player there. I think maybe just slightly putting him off and doing enough, but West Ham's best opportunity of the game so far.
Sheffield United 0, West Ham 0 as the television camera pans to Roberto, sitting with members of West Ham's backroom staff. They have been linked with Asmir Begovic as a potential backup for Fabianski. He returned to Bournemouth this week after a loan spell at Karabag. I wonder whether David Moyes may be on the phone to Eddie Howe in the morning.
They've got to deal with Randolph ongoing as well, haven't they, from Middlesbrough, who I'm sure if his medical issues may be there as well, which one the deal hasn't gone through, but certainly obviously an area that West Ham are looking to target and strengthen.
You can see though by the body language of the West Ham players, that injury to Fabianski as Zabaleta as a flying header from across behind for a corner has rattled them.
Yeah, it's not ideal as well, because Sheffield United, they do service the box a lot, and they get into wide areas, they slip the ball into the danger zone.
Norwood with the corner, first test for Martin, stays on his line. McGoldrick heads it across the face of goal, but it's cleared by West Ham, and here is Lanzini now in the right wing position. He's done well there to get the better of Norwood. And now Noble, he's got Masuaku in acres of space to the left hand side. Noble tries to switch it to this right touchline instead, where Zabaleta was well marshalled, and it's tapped back by O'Connell to the Sheffield United goalkeeper Henderson. 18 minutes gone. Sheffield United 0, West Ham 0. The story of the game so far, an early injury to Lucas Fabianski, the West Ham goalkeeper. Here's Masuaku. Can he get a cross into the area? Pulls it back instead. Cresswell with a delivery. Allaire chests it down for Anderson. He bounces off his left shin, and it's cleared away by Sheffield United. McGoldrick tussling with Noble, and getting the better of the West Ham captain. Here now is Stevens up over halfway for Sheffield United. Closed down quickly by Felipe Anderson. That's a facet to Anderson's game maybe we didn't see too often under Manuel Pellegrini. He has conceded a free kick.
I think West Ham in general look like they're more tuned in, running harder than they were under Manuel Pellegrini. Just need to be a bit more clever in possession of the ball in our midfield area. Mark Noble, he's given the ball away more in this game than I've seen him giving the ball away in his whole career. It's not like him at all. That's down to the pressure Sheffield United are putting on him in that midfield area.
Fleck with the delivery. Rice heads it back towards his own goal. There's a shot from Lundstrom deflected. I think in the end it was cleared away by Balbuena. Martin didn't look the most convincing as that shot was fired in. And West Ham coming under concerted pressure now. I think it was good play by Balbuena in the end.
Yeah, did well in the end, but it wasn't convincing defending from West Ham. I think it's Declan Rice who actually flicks the ball on to the far post. His pin ball around in the box, drops to Lundstrom on his weaker left foot. The attempt at goal doesn't quite get enough purchase on the strike, and Balbuena is able to kind of get in front of it and make a decent block.
19 minutes gone. Sheffield United 0, West Ham 0. West Ham having started the game fluently and positively, firmly on the back foot now. McGoldrick watches the ball out for a Sheffield throw right in front of this left corner flag on the near touchline. Leaves it for Stevens in the air. Short for Egan. The centre-back's given licence to roam by Chris Wilder, but roaming there into an offside position. John Egan, and it will be a free kick for West Ham United. It was O'Connell actually who was forward.
And that midfield area is key for both teams tonight. And I just think Sheffield United again are better of that in these opening 20 minutes. They're just hurrying West Ham in possession, forcing them to turn the ball over, and then looking to break from there. You just feel if they can show a bit more composure on the ball, West Ham, particularly in the midfield area, Martin Noble and Declan Rice, and you feel they can break that press and get the ball into their forward players and start causing a few problems. But Sheffield United doing a good job in there at the minute.
3 points above the relegation zone, West Ham, virtue of that win against Bournemouth on New Year's Day. They were to lose tonight, and Villa and Bournemouth both win over the course of the weekend. It's asking a lot because Villa are at home to Manchester City, but they could end the weekend back in the bottom three. And when you look at the games they've got to come, Danny, over the next few weeks, Everton at home, Leicester away, they've got to play Liverpool twice, they've got to play Manchester City as well. They're not out the woods yet, West Ham.
No, they're not, and none of the games are easy. When you're down the bottom, every game just looks more and more difficult when you're not picking up results. But I certainly think with David Moyes coming into the club now and the squad that they have, have a lot of good players. You'd expect them, if you can get them more organised and working harder, you'd expect them to win enough games of football to be okay.
Here's Masuaku on the edge of the penalty area. He goes down inside the box. I don't think he was looking for a penalty because he got up very quickly, Masuaku, right in front of Michael Oliver, and the ball is cleared out for a West Ham throw. He's almost apologising there, Masuaku, as he gets back to his feet. The ball hoisted in. Ogbonna couldn't get on the end of it, and McBurney just watches it out for a Sheffield United throw. 22 played, 0-0 the score.
Well, he kind of was looking for it and then wasn't looking for it. It was one of them where he's drove into the box, he's almost expecting contact, and he's thinking, if I get any contact on me, I'm just going to go down. And the lunge kind of comes in, but there's nowhere near him, and then he still falls over. But because he doesn't feel the contact, he then kind of makes it look as if, well, maybe I lost my balance. So I think it was a bit of both.
Here's Norwood for Sheffield United. Plays it back to the home penalty area. Basham making his 250th start for the club. Plays it back to Henderson, who goes long upfield. Ogbonna side foots it back into the Sheffield United half, but headed down by Egan. And here now is Stevens in the left back position. 0-0 the score. You're listening to Premier League Live. Start of another bumper weekend. Big game tomorrow, of course. Tottenham against Liverpool. You can hear that one from 5:30 UK time. Well, our coverage starts at 12:30. Palace against Arsenal, followed by United Norwich at 3. Goals as they go in from Chelsea against Burnley, Everton Brighton, Leicester against Southampton, a repeat of the 9-0 game at St Mary's, of course, back in October. Against Newcastle as well. This ball is flung out by Sheffield United to this left hand side, and Stevens. O'Connell forward, overlapping Stevens, and then Stevens crosses into the area. Bonner with a header clear. Norwood. Cushions the ball out the right hand side, and George Baldock, his brother Sam, the former West Ham player, Lundstrom there has just pushed Cresswell in the back. It will be a free kick. I want to talk to you, Danny, about the overlapping centre backs. We've not seen the like before in English football. How comfortable would you be doing what we're seeing from O'Connell and Basham in particular? cross here, and it's towards McBurney at the far post, who flung a leg at it, and skips away on the greasy surface, and behind it was good play from Lundstrom to work the space to get the cross in and just evades McBurney at the far post.
Yeah, initially a great ball by Ollie Norwood, just into that shadow. Masuaku just caught up the field. Just cuts inside, Lundstrom whips the ball into a really dangerous area on his weaker left foot, and just a yard away from McBurney on that far post on the stretch.
To go back to 2007 for the last time Sheffield United beat West Ham in the Premier League. Phil Jagielka, who is on the bench tonight, was amongst the scorers that evening. 6 of the last 11 meetings between the pair have ended in draws, and no sign of a breakthrough yet tonight either. 0-0 with a little over 4 minutes of the first half remaining. Martin, the sub-goalkeeper, volleys it clear for West Ham, but it's headed back towards the penalty area by Norwood. McGoldrick linking up with Fleck, but Weiner steps in as Fleck tried to return the ball to McGoldrick, and here now is Felipe Anderson 10 yards inside the West Ham half. Noble back once again to Martin. Ogbonna, the Italian, in space. Room to stretch those long limbs for Angelo Ogbonna as he makes his way towards the halfway line. He plays it long for Sebastian Haller again. John Egan was in a bit of trouble, but Haller just leant into Egan and conceded a cheap free kick. Does look like a battle that Haller maybe could win tonight.
Yeah, but we haven't seen too much of Haller. The ball hasn't really gone into him. The service has been poor, and Felipe Anderson, he's predominantly playing out on this right hand side now. Initially started up alongside Haller, but I think the way Sheffield United play and trying to overload down that left hand side, West Ham's right, he's having to do a lot of defensive work in that right kind of wing position, and then when on the turnover the ball he's very deep and not able to get up and support Haller.
I was speaking to you off the air, and maybe it was a bit crude, but I said to you, at times Haller can look like a world beater, but I watched him against Gillingham in the FA Cup, he was absolutely hopeless.
Yeah, I'm still kind of trying to figure him out, really. He looks like he's a player capable of producing brilliant moments, and you look at the finish against Bournemouth, that was a fantastic goal on the volley, and then you probably see him next week and you wonder,
missing a sitter at the Priestfield,
missing a sitter kind of thing. I mean, he's that kind of player. I think he needs motivating. You look at him, sometimes his body language, he looks a bit disinterested at times, so I don't think David Moyes will allow too much of that. You saw what he did with Marko Arnautovic, he got a tune out of him, so I'm sure you'd be hoping he can do the same with Haller.
43 minutes played, Sheffield United 0, West Ham 0. You're listening to Premier League Live with Alex Crook and Danny Gabardon, your commentary team. West Ham have a free kick inside the centre circle. Michael Oliver is ready to place the ball down. Relatively quiet night for the man in the middle so far, yet to show a red card this season, Michael Oliver in the Premier League. Not had any cause to reach for the notepad so far this evening either. Here's Ogbonna, furthest man back for West Ham inside their own half. Forward to Rice, out to the left hand side. Cresswell looking for the run of Haller, but Henderson was alert, because again I think Haller was maybe away from Egan. Henderson quickly off his line, the Manchester United loanee, and smuggles the ball safely.
Yeah, that was really good goalkeeping, good starting position, because the ball in behind by Cresswell was a good one. He's looking for Haller, who just pulled off the back of Egan, but he's right on the edge of his 18-yard box, and it wasn't the easiest to take either, just bouncing in front of him. Really good goalkeeping.
To throw in here for West Ham. Cresswell will take it level with his own penalty area. Liverpudlian Aaron Cresswell, very much a mainstay of this West Ham back line. Will that be his auxiliary left back, or as he is tonight on the left hand side of the back three? David Moyes' preferred tactic, certainly when he was first at London Stadium and seemingly on his return as well. In fairness, against Bournemouth they didn't really need to play with the defence, did they? Here is Cresswell forward to Lanzini, but Lanzini is far too easily pushed off the ball by Norwood. Fleck now back towards the halfway line for Sheffield United. Stevens could have let it run because O'Connell had made that overlap, but Stevens comes infield instead, and then Lundstrom guides it out to the left hand side, and O'Connell's cross behind the goal, and it will be a goal kick right in front of the West Ham fans.
Yeah, that's the only problem that you get sometimes when you get centre backs in crossing positions. The quality going into the box isn't always great. not often the same of a natural kind of full-back.
Never one to mince his words, Chris Wilder.
No.
In fact, his post-match interviews have been as entertaining as watching his team at times this season. I don't think he'll be overly enamoured with what he's seen in this first half. They haven't asked nearly enough questions, have they, of David Martin since he came on?
No, they have struggled actually. Both teams almost cancelled each other out. I think West Ham will be the happier of the two teams going at half time, because I think they'll feel second half if the spaces open up a bit when Sheffield United get a little bit tired, then West Ham will probably come into the game a bit more. Sheffield United do need to do a little bit more for me.
2 added minutes at the end of the first half. 0-0 the score as Felipe Anderson drives into the Sheffield United half, plays it down the line for Allaire. Good defending this time by Basham, who's come all the way across to the left hand side. Allaire plays it back in field for Declan Rice. Cresswell now flips it forward to Masuaku, might get a crossing chance here, couldn't take on Baldock, but he has won a corner. West Ham's second of the evening.
Play by Halle, he's strong, he's that focal point there, he holds the ball up, allows any attacking players to get up in support of him. Eventually the ball getting spread wide to Masuaku, just looking for half a yard to get a cross into the box, but Sam Baldock doing really well, sticking to his defensive duties there.
What a time it would be for West Ham to score the opening goal in the first of the 2 added minutes. Lanzini is going to try and orchestrate something from the corner, but it's straight into the arms of Henderson. And he sums up what we've seen from West Ham as an attacking force so far.
Delivery in the box has been poor for West Ham. Goalkeeping practice for Dean Henderson. I think they forgot that he got warmed up before the game. but as sub goalkeepers, the crossing really has been poor.
As a player, Dean Henderson, I know they think an awful lot of at Manchester United, seen possibly as a long-term successor to David De Gea. Fleck fires in a shot from fully 35 yards, lack power, and he's well blocked on the edge of the West Ham area. Here's Anderson now, one last chance maybe to clip this forward for West Ham. He switched it out to the left hand side of Masuaku instead, but he's found the Congolese. Cresswell up in support. Again, Sheffield United well drilled, plenty of red and white shirts back behind the ball, and West Ham slowly make their way back to the halfway line, and then Lanzini plays it against Baldock and wins a throw.
That's not where you want to see Felipe Anderson picking the ball up that deep and hitting crossfield balls. That's something that Declan Rice or Martin Noble should be doing. Not once have I seen Felipe Anderson this first half making a run in behind the back three, the back five of Sheffield United, and that's what he's good at with his pace.
Well, not the first half that will live long in the memory, in all honesty. No goals, a lack of clear-cut scoring chances. The big talking point, the 15th minute substitution of the West Ham goalkeeper Lucas Fabianski, with a recurrence seemingly of the groin injury that kept him out for a long time earlier in the season. David Martin has had little to do since coming on. Sheffield United will be keen to change that, no doubt, in the second half. Half-time at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 0, West Ham 0. You are listening.
Join the kings of the sporting jungle, Adrian Durham and Darren Goff. Weekday afternoons from 4.
That's Talk Sport I'm talking about, man.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. Talk Sport. It's the double-O duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got Pussy Galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on Talks.
Steeplechase of tartan joviality, a proper wedge of wonder and corporate hospitality. It's a full day's toil when you're always on the boil, like Alan.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast, Talk Sports National Treasure. Available across the UK in wine bars, hospitality tents, bookies, and occasionally on Talk Sport.
Join me Monday morning from 6 o'clock.
Hopefully
on digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Cheers!
Talk Sport.
Welcome back to Premier League Live. Sheffield United 0, West Ham 0 at the break then. Here is the best of the action from a tight and tense first half. With the ball in. Oh, and it's headed over the crossbar. Fabianski rooted to the spot. It was John Egan, the big defender. Unfortunately for Sheffield United, he got right underneath the header, but that was a chance, Danny.
Can't keep it there. It almost hits the top of his head. I don't know if he's running at too much pace there, but it's a big opportunity for Sheffield United.
West Ham have got a problem. Lucas Fabianski, when he took that last goal kick, he immediately, Danny, put his right hand in the air to signal to the bench that something wasn't right. And I can tell you, David Martin is already stripped and ready for action. This is a major issue for David Moyes and for West Ham. Like with the delivery, Rice heads it back towards his own goal. There's a shot from Lundstrom deflected. I think in the end it was cleared away by Balbuena. Martin didn't look the most convincing as that shot was fired in, and West Ham coming under concerted pressure now. I think it was good play by Balbuena in the end.
They did well in the end, but it wasn't convincing defending from West Ham.
It will be cleared now by the yellow-shirted David Martin high into the Sheffield United half. That's a nervy header back towards his own goal, and here is Felipe Anderson from 14 yards out, drags the shot wide, and John Egan is the most relieved man inside Bramall Lane. Yeah, that scuffed effort from Felipe Anderson, as close as either side come to a breakthrough. A very cagey first half in South Yorkshire. There have been 9 Premier League games this season that haven't seen a single shot on target during the first half. Sheffield United, Danny, have been involved in 3 of them.
Have they? Have they all been Friday night games as well? Because I swear every time I watch a Friday night game, we get this kind of level of quality. It hasn't been the best of first halves. I think West Ham will probably be slightly happier going into it. Obviously a 0-0. Feel like that maybe second half, if the game opens up, when Sheffield United get a little bit tired, they might get their attacking players into the game a bit more. But I've been a little bit disappointed with Sheffield United, actually. I was expecting a lot more from them. I was expecting them to come out of the traps a lot sharper, pose West Ham a lot more problems going forward than they have. They haven't really done so. They're crossing into the box probably hasn't been the usual kind of standard. 1 or 2 kind of half chances, but a lot of their attacks have kind of broken down around West Ham's 18-yard box. So I suppose you have to give a little bit of credit to West Ham for the way they've defended as well. But let's hope the second half improves slightly, because it's been a tough watch.
Can't be any worse, that's for sure, and the rest of the weekend can only get better based on what we've seen so far. Some huge matches to come, not least of course tomorrow night, 5:30 UK time, Tottenham against Liverpool at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Magnificent ground it is as well. Tom Rennie and Dave Kitson will be your commentary team for that one. Liverpool, if they win, will set a new record for the best ever start to a Premier League season. Not just that, it will be the best start that a club have made to a top flight season in any of Europe's 5 major leagues. Let's hear from Jurgen Klopp though, who said he's not focused on records.
Didn't think a second about it, will not start now think about it. The only thing what I can say, if we would have thought about any kind of record, we would not have won the number of games we won so far. I think in sports, we have to ask probably other teams, they did it before, never set a record because I wanted to set a record, just because it happened, by being focused on each step you make, and that's what we have to do. And my problem in this moment is Tottenham.
Liverpool win tomorrow night, Danny Gabardon, and I think we expect them to, particularly with no Harry Kane for Spurs. It will be 61 points out of a possible 63. Manchester United, with that draw at Old Trafford, the only team to stop Liverpool winning this season. That is quite incredible, to keep up that level of intensity when they're also competing, of course, in the World Clubs Cup, in the Carabao Cup. All right, they threw that one away in the end, had no choice, but Champions League as well. What does it tell us about the mentality at Anfield? Also, what does it tell us that they can send the kids out against Everton's first team and still win?
I think it just shows that the club is in fantastic shape from top to bottom. The young players that are coming through, being given opportunities, the recruitment, everything just seems to be in sync there at the minute. The mentality of the players, the manager, who's outstanding as well. It's just a good time to be a Liverpool fan, to be a Liverpool player, and what they're doing is nothing short of extraordinary for me, because if you think about the amount of games that some of those players have played over the last 2 or 3 seasons, to lose the league by 1 point, then go and win the Champions League, players away playing in tournaments in the summer, and then come back and kind of hit the ground running without the manager actually signing a new player into the squad, is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous what they're doing. It's just about whether they can keep that up between now and the end of the season, and obviously the Premier League will be there, still a long way to go, but fantastic to watch, and we're just witnessing something that's unbelievable, really, what Man City and Liverpool have been doing in the last couple of seasons. They're just taking football to a whole another level, really.
And the fact Liverpool are about to win the title for the first time in 30 years, when their bitter rivals Manchester United are at their lowest ebb in 3 decades. Nice. I'm sure their fans will be enjoying it. Let's hear, though, from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the Manchester United manager, ahead of their game at home to Norwich tomorrow.
Of course, you're disappointed when you lose a game against your local rivals. And which way is it to go? Do you feel sorry for yourself? Do you just buckle down and get ready for the next one? Because if you have players here with one of the worst traits a footballer can have, is feeling sorry for himself, then you're not in the right place.
It's interesting, Danny, to hear that he doesn't want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United's players, to feel sorry for themselves, but as every goal went in on Tuesday night, their shoulders became more and more slumped. They're not exactly a team who have a positive body language when things aren't going their way.
Yeah, it's never nice as a player when you get the run around. I mean, I've been to Old Trafford as a player a few times and got the run around and you don't see the ball and goals are flying in. It's never nice for the confidence, but you do have to get over those results quickly. You do have to realise the quality that you're kind of coming up against, where you are a little bit as a side yourself, and move on quickly to the next game. You can't let previous results kind of affect you. So, I understand what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is kind of saying there. They have to be a little bit realistic with where they are as a team. When you come up against the likes of Man City and Liverpool at the minute, nobody's kind of beating them. They're giving everybody kind of a footballing lesson. So you have to put a bit of realism on the situation and then move on to the next game, which is obviously Norwich, and they'll be expected to go out and win that one.
We can hear United against Norwich from 3 o'clock in the company of Russ Hargreaves and Hogan Ethraim tomorrow here on Premier League Live. Still to come tonight, the second half from Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 0, West Ham 0. You are listening to Premier League Live.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast, Monday morning from 6 on TalkSport.
We'd like to build the world a bar and furnish it with booze, with champagne trees and cocktail bees and fountains of homebrew. We'd like to buy the world a drink. Cheers! A bottle of Chablis, a whiskey sour at happy hour. A magnum of Polly, that's a Brazil thing.
I'm in a wine bar.
It's the real thing.
What's wrong with that?
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
The morning pickup that refreshes the parts other breakfast shows just can't reach.
Monday morning from 6 on TalkSport.
Spitspot.
It's a classic afternoon radio emission from the other side. Hawksby and Jacobs deceased. After a joke about Chelsea went catastrophically wrong and died, Andy Jacobs was transported to a parallel lunch netherworld.
Only you can hear me, Paul. Only you.
Only me and 3 million listeners, Andy.
Banished to spend eternity wearing white suits, unearthing spectacularly big-named interviews, and bringing a new spectral dimension to radio entertainment.
And occasionally materialising in ladies' changing rooms.
That was a genuine mistake. I thought it was the kebab shop next door.
Investigate the annals of Hawksby and Jacobs deceased. Weekday afternoons from 1.
I've gone. What does it matter?
On TalkSport.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
This is the time of the year where you've got to have your horses right.
Weekday mornings from 6.
And you backed them on the nose.
On Talk Sport.
I'm Sam Matterface, and this is Game Day. Talk Sport has your weekend covered as we give you a series of exclusive podcasts bringing you total coverage of the Premier League with a trio of top podcasts. On Thursday, myself and a legendary lineup of pros and pundits will preview the action to all 10 Premier League matches.
On Saturday, it's your verdict with me, Laura Woods, and Adrian Durham, bringing you all the reaction and the very best of the phone-in.
On Monday morning, it's the turn of the record book with me, Danny Kelly. I'll be joined by the very best guests as we look back at all the weekend's action, going down the odd tangent as well.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast, Monday morning from 6 on Talk Sport.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. My, oh my, what a beautiful day. Folly and horses coming my way. Only 4 hours, magical play.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
Hospitality knocks for Alan Brazil.
Monday morning from 6 on Talk Sport.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Sheffield United against West Ham United from Bramall Lane. I'm your host, Alex Crook. Alongside me is the former Cardiff, Crystal Palace and West Ham defender Danny Goward. This is Premier League Live, where the Sheffield United players are going through a pretty rigorous pre-second half warm-up, racing from the side of the pitch to some cones that have been placed down 15 yards or so in from the touchline. Plenty of intensity. West Ham United players also being put through their paces, and arguably, Danny, the two sets of players using up more energy now than they did in that entire opening 45 minutes.
I wouldn't go that. I think both teams worked hard in that first half, and as we said, I think just cancelled each other out and lacked a bit of quality, both teams in the final third. Hopefully, second half when the game opens up a little bit, both teams get a little bit tired. We might see some chances and hopefully some goals. I think the game suits West Ham, how it's gone so far, as I said. They'll be hoping the spaces open a little bit more and they can get a bit more control in that midfield area. Would like to see Felipe Anderson this half playing a little bit closer to Sebastian Haller. It's too deep and having to do too much defensive work, which probably credit to Sheffield United with the way that they're trying to overload down that side. He's having to track back and do a lot of defensive work, but in turn then that is leaving Haller a little bit isolated up front on his own. So I think that's something West Ham maybe need to tweak in the second half.
West Ham in the all-purple have got a soften underway in the second half, shooting from right to left, attacking the end, behind which the travelling masses from the east end of London are gathered. A long way to come for a 0-0 on a Friday night. Sheffield United in the red and white stripes with the black shorts and red socks, shooting from left to right in a nervy moment right at the start of the second half. But David Martin, under pressure from Ollie McBurney, just about manages to scoop it clear. Two sets of sides unchanged from the teams that finished the first 45 minutes. Sheffield United with Henderson in goal, Basham, Egan and O'Connell in defence, Baldock, Lundstrom, Norwood the captain, Fleck and Stevens in midfield with McGoldrick and McBurney the front two. For West Ham, David Martin on as a 15th minute replacement for Lucas Fabianski. The injured Fabianski is in goal. Balbuena, Ogbonna and Cresswell make up their defence. Zabaleta, Rice, Noble and Masuaku in a four-man midfield with Lanzini and Anderson playing in behind Sebastian Haller, the lone striker up front. Here's McBurney for Sheffield United. Gives it away to Anderson. Lanzini over the halfway line. Zabaleta side foots it forward, but asking an awful lot from Sebastian Haller. Out to the right of Balbuena. He goes forward to Haller, coming very deep, Sebastian Haller, and he almost gave that away to Fleck. One back by Noble. Balbuena touchline. Cleared upfield then by Cresswell. He'll come straight back again, and Masuaku. Points of Arsenal, not as big an achievement as perhaps it's been in previous seasons, but
you're saying that as if they're like fourth Arsenal thing or fifth.
But if you said to West Ham at the start of the season that after 22 matches you'll only be 2 points behind Arsenal, they would probably have taken that.
Yeah, it shows how tight the league is, really. Arsenal sitting in 10th, West Ham in 16th, and a win tonight, and they're a couple of points behind. It just shows, 2 or 3 wins put together, and you can climb the league really quickly.
Also shows just how dominant the likes of plays it back to Lundstrom. Cross swung in by Norwood. It's only cleared as far as John Fleck, who shoots left-footed. Blocked first time on the follow-up. Just wide of the bottom corner.
It's a good chance. On his left foot, Fleck gets 2 bites for the cherry. Much better from Sheffield United. Great run from Sam Bowler down the right-hand side. Shows real good composure because he just turns back out and they work the overload really well. Norwood, better delivery into the box. Ball finds its way to the far post to Fleck. First strike gets blocked, comes back out to him, catches the second one much sweeter. Low, just shaves past that left hand post of David Mine, not too far away.
Yeah, John Fleck, 4 goals already this season. Inches away from putting Sheffield United ahead in front of both the Scotland manager Steve Clarke and his England counterpart Gareth Southgate. Plenty of homegrown players on display, as I've already mentioned.
That was much better from Sheffield United because they worked the overload as they had done a lot of times in the first half, but the quality of the cross is a lot better for Norwood. Balbuena really struggled with the clearance, could only head the ball to the edge of the 18-yard box. And Fleck's there waiting for the seconds. First strike gets blocked, the second one catches ever so well. Really unlucky, just missing that far post.
Aaron Cresswell has a throw in for West Ham. It's almost level with a penalty spot inside the Sheffield United final third. Haven't seen too much of the ball in an attacking sense this half. West Ham. Here's Cresswell trying to get away from Lundstrom and from Baldock, who comes in and clears, and it will be another West Ham throw. Sheffield United have kept 28 clean sheets since the start of last season. No team in England can boast a better record than that. I have to say, on what we've seen so far, Danny, in these opening 52 minutes, they are a tough nut to crack.
They are, but that's so important when you're a promoted side coming into the Premier League. It's all about getting that balance right. Yes, you need to score goals, but you have to be really difficult to beat. You have to keep yourself in games, and you look at Norwich, they're completely different, score goals but so open, and
Villa the same in many ways. Here comes the cross from Stevens for Sheffield United, cleared only as far as that man Fleck, who flicks it back out to Stevens. That's a good ball in, and Balbuena slices it behind for the first corner of the second half. Not the most convincing of defending, but he did the job.
Gets himself into a good position twice, initially to clear the first cross with his head, just gets himself just past that near post. As the ball comes into the near post there, not the most convincing clearance, slices off his shin there, but in the right position to intercept.
Norwood's gone short this time, gets it back from Stevens. Norwood with the ball in. McBurney's header 6 yards out. He was unmarked, Ollie McBurney. and he heads it into row 8 behind the goal. That was a chance.
Yeah, it's almost as if he doesn't see it. It's as if he sees it really late. They work the short corner really well. Gets played back to Norwood. Fantastic delivery again into that 6-yard box, and he's just pulled off the back of Fabian Balbuena there. He's just trying to glance the ball into the far corner. Just gets too much on. Opportunity here.
Poor kick out from Martin. Seized upon by Fleck. Into McBurney. Must score this time. Does score off the goalkeeper. It wasn't the cleanest strike in the world, but Ollie McBurney has his 4th goal of the season. It's an absolute gift from David Martin. It is Sheffield United 1, West Ham 0.
Well, this is awful for West Ham. They shoot themselves in the foot. David Martin, the substitute keeper, something we've seen Roberto do over the last few weeks. They look to try and play a short free kick. Balbuena comes back to get the ball, but the pass out to him just goes to his left hand side. He's not able to adjust. Sheffield United pounce on it. Credit to John Flex. He sees what's happening and he just drifts past Balbuena, and he could take the shot on, but sees McBurney in a better position, squares it to him, and I have to say, he gives David Martin every opportunity to make the save. He probably should have. Not the most convincing finish, just goes under his body into the roof of the net. Ollie McBurney won't care. Sheffield United 1-0 up.
An absolute catastrophe from David Martin as West Ham's goalkeeping problems that have dogged them all season long rear their head again at Bramall Lane. Ollie McBurney, the grateful recipient of the gift, and Sheffield United have their noses in front as it stands. They'll be back up to 5th in the Premier League table. Such a disappointing moment for David Martin, who is still shaking his head in disbelief. He got dog's abuse from the Sheffield United fans behind the goal as well.
Yeah, it's obviously something, Alex, that they worked on the training ground. They take a short kind of goal kick. Balbuena, just last second really, just trying to catch Sheffield United napping really, and just drops back in to maybe get turned on the ball, but it's a really poor ball out to him. And credit to John Fleck as well, because he actually sees what's happening and he gets a full sprint on, nicks the ball off Balbuena, and then his brilliant composure to just pick out McBurney, and he's got a simple task of just sticking the ball in the back of the net, no more than 5 or 6 yards out.
Well, they've only won 6 games in the Premier League this season, West Ham, 3 of them against the sides who currently make up the relegation zone. You've got to say this has been more like a Pellegrini performance than a David Moyes one, as Ogbonna puts his body on the line to stop Stevens on the edge of the area, but they just can't get out here, West Ham. They haven't got going since half time. McBurney just unable to keep the ball in play. It will be a throw for the visitors. These are worrying times if you're a West Ham supporter, Danny.
Yeah, just need to calm down, West Ham. Again, looking to try and play out, but Sheffield United are pressing, stepping in, full of intensity and just forcing mistakes again. Needs calm heads now from West Ham. We don't need this to go to 2-0.
Penny for the thoughts of Fabianski, looking on pensively from the West Ham bench. The Pole having been forced off with injury in the first half, and his replacement David Martin has gifted Sheffield United the opening goal. Most of the Sheffield United players are actually looking the other way as David Martin went to take the goal kick. He immediately apologises to Balbuena.
It's definitely a planned move. You all push out as a defence. You think the goalkeeper's going to kick the ball long, and then right at the last second you just sprint back in and try and get a short ball off the goalkeeper, but the pass is really poor. He just puts it to the left of him. He can't adjust his body, flex onto it, does really well to dance around Balbuena. You could argue maybe can he bring him down? Maybe that would have been risking a red card.
Lanzini trying to find Masuaku. Brilliant challenge on the slide by Basham. West Ham have got it back with Allaire. Here's Lanzini now, midway inside the Sheffield United half, manages to scoop it over the top of the sliding Fleck for Noble, but McBurney was hungrier, and Sheffield United have it back once more. Just show more desire tonight,
just
the Blades.
They're sharper, Alex. They're sharper when they lose the ball. They're so quick to get the ball back there. They just got caught out, Sheffield United, in midfield. Ollie Norwood dived in. It just looked like the space had opened up for Mark Noble, but McBurney, they're tracking back from that centre forward position, just picks the pocket of Mark Noble, and that's what they do ever so well. They work so hard as a team.
Zabaleta, right hand side for West Ham, infield for Lanzini, scoops it forward, given away though by Allaire. Sheffield United maybe can counter with Lundstrom. They've really got the grip between their teeth, Sheffield United, in this second half. As I say that, Lundstrom showed too much of it to Anderson. Here's Lanzini, away from Norwood. Lanzini back in field. It's too intricate really from Anderson with a back heel. Allaire almost made something of it, but it's cleared away by John Egan. Picked up now by Cresswell just inside the Sheffield United half. 59 gone, 1-0 they lead the Blades.
I just feel David Moyes might have to do something soon. Look, wasn't expecting to concede a goal as bad as that, but
Lanzini forward to Masuaku. Allaire waiting for the cross in the middle, goes right over his head, just about kept in play on the far side by Zabaleta. It was a woeful delivery. Anderson has got Noble crying out for a pass, but Anderson, I think he's going to check in field instead. Not much movement ahead of him. Keeps the ball for Felipe Anderson, tries to roll it forward for Lanzini, cleared by Basham, and then Zabaleta under pressure, forced to concede a goal kick.
You'll have to change something to David Moyes, because the attacking side of their game, with that front, whatever it is, two behind the one striker, or I don't really even know what it is. I don't know where Felipe Anderson is actually playing. He needs to change something there, David Moyes, because it isn't working.
Sheffield United are going to their bench. Lys Mousset, 5 goals to his name this season, is coming on.
I just wonder if that's a knock, Alex. It seems quite early. You get yourselves in front, 59 minutes gone. Maybe he's just run out of steam, I don't know.
Mousset is on for McGoldrick. He's taking a place on the bench, so he's not heading down to the tunnel area. David McGoldrick suggests it's tactical.
Yeah, maybe just wants a bit more pace on the counter-attack, I don't know.
Here is Mousset, involved straight away, linking up with McBurney. Couldn't quite squeeze it back to the Frenchman. Cleared upfield by Cresswell, but only as far as Baldock on this right-hand side. Lundstrom has peeled away. West Ham with Cresswell clear this time to Norwood. Good second half for Sheffield United so far. An hour gone, they lead 1-0. Courtesy of a strike from McBurney, who's just been brought down the edge of the area by Bonner. Might be a yellow card here.
I think he's offside.
I think that's fortunate for Angelo Bonner.
Yeah, Burnley just coming back from an offside position, doesn't get himself back on side in time. Gets there before Bonner, doesn't he? And certainly would have been a foul.
Sheffield United up to 5th in the table as it stands, only 4 points behind 4th place Chelsea. West Ham 2 points clear of the bottom 3. They'll be looking nervously towards Villa Park and the Vitality Stadium on Sunday. It's not the season they expected, and that's for sure. Given away by Lundstrom though, picked up by Declan Rice, who's had a very quiet evening so far, being an international. Here's Anderson out to the right and Zabaleta. 61 gone, 1-0 West Ham trail. Noble coming forward into the Sheffield United half, clips it out to the left hand side, and Cresswell forward to Masuaku. Good pressure applied by Baldock, forcing the mistake from Masuaku, concedes the throw.
It's good again from Sheffield United. So well drilled, with the intensity that they press with, just force mistakes, and West Ham just struggling to cope with it. Really poor in possession, rigid, not enough options in those forward areas, and they're just constantly turning the ball over.
John Fleck credited with the assists for the McBurney opener after seizing on that misplaced pass upfield by Martin, the West Ham goalkeeper. 12th time he's made a goal for a teammate since the start of the last season. He's full of running in midfield, John Fleck. Here is Cresswell back in the left back position, in possession for West Ham. At the moment, you've got to say Norwood, Lundstrom and Fleck down here have bossed that midfield battle against Rice and Noble.
Yeah, well, I thought before kick-off that would be the kind of the key area, because Sheffield United are so good in there. They're so good at winning those second balls and pressing with that intensity and controlling the game kind of from that area. And they've been outnumbered, really, West Ham in there. It's always been a 3 against 2. Noble and Rice against those 3 Sheffield United midfielders. Lanzini hasn't really helped out too much, and it's been a struggle for them without the ball, but also with the ball as well. They really have struggled to keep the ball for any kind of length of time.
West Ham have only failed to score in one of their last 8 games in the Premier League. They need that run to continue if they are to stand any chance of salvaging a share of the spoils here. Allaire tees up Lanzini on the edge of the area. Anderson rolls it forward to the oncoming Zabaleta. Pulls it back to the edge of the area. Zabaleta. Noble's cross is blocked, and Anderson again beaten in the challenge by John Fleck. Sheffield United just want it more, and that's a good ball forward to Mousset as well. Mousset on the edge of the area. Still going here, Lys Mousset finds Lundstrom, who might get a shot off. Oh, lovely ball forward to Baldock, and in the end Cresswell with a tackle. Maybe just one pass too many for Sheffield United. It will be a corner. It could have been 2-0.
Oh, it's a brilliant counter-attack from Sheffield United, but it all comes from the tenacity of Fleck, winning the ball back on the edge of his 18-yard box, and then he spring into life. Mousset with his pace, great run in the channel, gets fed, holds the ball up, lovely square ball, and then Sheffield United have got they got 5 players in West Ham's 18-yard box at the end of that counter-attack. The ball's just a little bit slow as it gets played to Baldock on the overlap. And it's a good tackle in the end. I think it's Cresswell who gets a vital challenge in stopping him hitting that shot on target.
Fleck with a corner. Lundstrom heads it at the near post but couldn't get it on target. It's going to be a goal kick for West Ham, and we know what happened from the last one.
The energy they play with Sheffield United, you have to give them credit. Defence into attack in a matter of seconds, and players busting the gut to get to the other end of the pitch. And just saw a shot of Chris Wilder there. He was going absolutely mad there because he had West Ham outnumbered. It was just the final ball to Baldock which let the counter attack down.
And they'll be on 32 points, Sheffield United, from 22 games if they can hold on to this 1-0 victory, or maybe even add to it. They do look the more likely to add to the scoring just at the moment, despite the vast array of attacking riches that West Ham have at their disposal. Allaire has been a passenger up front. It's been a frustrating night for Anderson and Lanzini as well, despite the fact that West Ham have had more possession, 58% to Sheffield United's 42%. United have used theirs better. Baldock with the ball forward looking for Mousset, who's been a real handful since coming on. What a transformation it's been for Lys Mousset as well. Scored as many goals in his first 9 games for Sheffield United as he managed in 58 for Bournemouth, when I know there were doubts about his fitness and maybe his lifestyle off the pitch. It's a lot leaner, a lot sharper now, Lys Mousset under Chris Wilder.
Sometimes it happens, doesn't it, Alex? The penny drops with players, and different manager, different environment, different surroundings, and maybe a team just giving you that opportunity to play a bit more regular, gain that kind of confidence. And I mean, when I saw the signing, I was thinking, what are you doing, Chris Wilder? I'm not sure about that one, but
it's a lot of money as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but credit to him, he's got a tune out of him.
He's got these Sheffield United players performing at that absolute optimum, and it just hasn't been the case for David Moyes. Deep in conversation with Alan Irvine there, his trusted right-hand man. I think Robert Snodgrass is about to come on for West Ham. He should provide an energy boost.
Yeah, the set-piece delivery as well, as we know, but he had to do something, David Moyes, because this isn't working. He hasn't had the start to the second half that he would have liked, and he just looks really disjointed. They haven't been able to get anything going with the ball, and he needs to make a change somewhere.
Pick up the dulcet tones of Chris Wilder there, trying to orchestrate this Sheffield United throw down by the corner flag, cleared upfield by Masuaku, collected just on the edge of the halfway line by Egan, plays it back into his own half and O'Connell. And here now is Fleck, provider of the goal scored by McBurney, that separates the sides. 1-0 Sheffield United lead. We played 67 minutes on Premier League Live. Another disappointing night for those of you of West Ham United persuasion, and we mentioned the run of games they've got to come. Could get worse before it gets better for David Moyes.
Yeah, well, I can only hope here with Snodgrass coming on. Now he's going to maybe go on that right hand side, that position that kind of Felipe Anderson's been adopting, and they can get Anderson up closer to Haller and making runs in behind, because he hasn't done it once in this first half. The one time he did was when he got off the back of John Egan, who made half a mistake, and he's had the only chance of the game that West Ham have had. But for some reason he's playing very much like how he was under Manuel Pellegrini, really deep, almost playing as a number 10 and looking to try and make things happen in deep areas, and that's just not his game.
Here's Rice for West Ham, 2 yards inside his own half, forward to Cresswell. It is Noble now, the captain, still trying to drive his team forward into the feet of Haller. It was clipped from behind there by Egan. Hit needless from the big central defender. It's a free kick for West Ham, right in the middle of the Sheffield United half.
Yeah, just a little bit over eager there, John Egan, and didn't need to. There was 3 or 4 Sheffield United bodies around him as the ball came into him. Again, you look at West Ham there in their shape, and as the ball goes into Haller, there's nobody around him. You know, he was desperate for the foul, happy to see the foul, because he really had no one to link play with.
Looks like a straight swap. Snodgrass on for Masuaku. Snodgrass straight away is showing an interest in the West Ham free kick. He scored actually, Snodgrass, in each of his last 2 matches against Sheffield United, and he's going to take this free kick, I think. What an introduction this would be if he can provide a chance to get the equaliser. Snodgrass in the yellow footwear, sizing up the options ahead of him. Just going to float this one, I think, into the penalty area. Oh, Bono is up! Oh, and he has forged the equaliser for Haller. No, he hasn't. The flag was up. Brilliantly taken from Sebastian Haller. That's what he can do, Danny, when you get the service into the striker.
Yeah, almost an instant impact from the substitute as well. Snodgrass, great delivery. Haller just running. Oh yeah, he is offside. Just goes a little bit too early. Good delivery into the box. Runs off the back of McBurney on the stretch. It's a fantastic finish on the volley. Michael Oliver getting that one absolutely spot on. The linesman, I should say, just goes slightly early.
We're going to see a Sheffield United alteration as well, with 20 minutes remaining. John Lundstrom makes way in the heart of that midfield. And coming on, here's a player who hasn't played too much this season, actually. Mohamed Besic, on loan from Everton. Only racked up, Danny, 133 minutes before tonight.
I remember actually having a little barney with him in the tunnel at half time in an international game. I can't remember who he plays for, actually. Bosnia, is it?
Yeah, he's Bosnia.
Yeah. Wales against Bosnia. He was kicking Gareth Bale all first half, and I got instructed to have a word with him at half time.
Is it a Roy Keane, Gary Neville type?
It was a little. Yeah, we had a little square up in the tunnel at half time, and he actually apologised at the end of the game and said sorry. So he must have been intimidated by my presence. I don't know. Puts himself about though, he does. I'd say, coming onto the field of play now, he likes to get stuck in, likes to mix it.
It's been a frustrating stint in English football for Mo Besic. Didn't play much at Everton, sent out on loan to get valuable minutes, but that hasn't happened either. He's got 20 of them here.
I'm sure this will be a shape change for West Ham now. The Snodgrass coming on, Masuaku going off. I think that'll be a back 4. Zabaleta, Cresswell are the full backs, and I think you'll see probably more of a 4-4-1-1, what you saw them play against Bournemouth.
Snodgrass with the free kick. We'll be looking for Haller once more, hoping Haller can time his run a bit better. There was a push in the back there from Haller on the goal scorer McBurney, and the free kick goes Sheffield United's way, much to Haller's frustration.
He does well, McBurney just gets his body in between the ball and Haller, and he's just a bit too eager there, just pushes him over. But that's not a matchup that I like, actually. McBurney on Haller on that far post. Notoriously, strikers don't like to defend too much, don't like to be in that area, and saw Haller run off the back of him, but just going slightly early for the offside goal.
18 minutes remaining. Sheffield United 1, West Ham 0. The goal scored 9 minutes in the second half by Ollie McBurney after a mistake from David Martin, the West Ham goalkeeper. Here's Haller out to the right, and Zabaleta clips the cross into the box. It's a good header away this time by Egan. West Ham just beginning to pile on some pressure. Cresswell's delivery squirts away from Allaire, and here comes Sheffield United on the counter with Besic. A neat little link-up play between Besic and Fleck, and then Norwood out to the right and McBurney the goal scorer. Just check back there, Sheffield United, when maybe they had the option to keep going forward. Here they come on the left-hand side with Stevens the fullback. Lay off from Fleck into the feet of Besic, who's seen plenty of the ball already since coming on. Forward it goes from Basham. McBurney out the right hand side and Bulldog. McBurney in space on the edge of the area. Bulldog's continued his run, out muscles Cresswell. This is good from Sheffield United. As I say that, it's given away by Basham and cleared upfield by Snodgrass, but didn't look up. Passed it straight to Egan. Norwood. He's got Fleck in space. Mousse's made a great run. Here's Mousse to wrap up the points. Good save, Martin. Mousse with a low shot. Steered clear by the outstretched right leg of David Martin, the keeper. Bulldog now. Edge of the area. Chance for Besic to get the cross in, maybe. Shifts onto his left foot, Besic, then shoots straight at Martin. That was a good save,
That was a really good save, Alex. Because I think Mousse does everything right there. I can't really blame him. I think you have to give credit to the goalkeeper. Lovely ball played in by Fleck. A little over by McBurney that gets Mousse in. Good first touch, and I think he does everything right. Looks to go low across David Martin. Does really well there. So he just goes with his feet, makes the right decision, keeps his team in the game.
Well, that would have sealed it. Just a signal to West Ham of the threat that Sheffield United do pose on the counter-attack as they pile forward in search of an equaliser. I think we got a fascinating last 16 minutes in store.
It was a great play by Sheffield United. I know that passage of play.
That's a good ball by Norwood, out to Bulldog as well, looking for Mousse in the area, tries to bring it down for McBurney, but it's intercepted and won back by Declan Rice, who hurdles the challenge and finds Anderson on the right hand side. This is a much better watch now in this second half. Anderson away from Fleck. Rice with a chance to cross, looks up right for the delivery, charged down by O'Connell and then swept clear by Fleck, and McBurney has got Mousse up in support here. It's 2-on-3. Mousse away from Ogbonna like he wasn't there. Can he cut it back here for McBurney? Needs a bit more support, Lise Mousse. He's done brilliantly to hold it up. Sheffield United players a bit tardy in getting forward. Here's Mousse away from Zabaleta. Couldn't find McBurney. It's cleared by Balbuena, the centre back. And here come West Ham at the other end. Lanzini driving forward. Only Allaire in front of him. So Lanzini instead finds Felipe Anderson. Just clipped by Besic on the edge of the area. And it's going to be a free kick here for West Ham within shooting range.
Yeah, game just opening up there. One of the few occasions Sheffield United lacking numbers going forward on the counter-attack. Lovely play between the two strikers, McBurney and Mousse, but eventually comes to nothing. West Ham back down the other end. Good feet by Felipe Anderson on the edge of the 18-yard box. Just a little quick feet, little double touch to evade the Sheffield United player, and Michael Oliver just bringing it back for the first defence. He tried to let play go. There was no advantage of just bringing it back. I thought that was the correct decision.
And there are 4 or 5 West Ham players seemingly who fancy this one. Dean Henderson, the goalkeeper, crouching on his near post. Who do you fancy here, Danny? 5 yards outside the penalty area.
I would think probably Felipe Anderson. I think if it was the other side, I'd be going with Robert Snodgrass. Doesn't really suit the left footer from this angle. Not to say that he won't attempt it, but lots of options there, as you say. Could be anyone.
Looks like Lanzini is shaping up to hit this one right-footed, coming in from the left-hand side. Felipe Anderson is there as well, so too is Snodgrass. Here's Lanzini. It's a good hit. It's a good save from Henderson, and he manages to get there ahead of Allaire on the rebound as well. Flung himself, Henderson, low to the right-hand side and clawed the ball away. It was on target, and here comes Sheffield United at the other end. Mousse against Cresswell. Mousse shoots, but it balloons over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, Sheffield United getting on with things. Good save by Dean Henderson. Lanzini just opts to go over the wall. The wall breaks, actually. Not the best job by the players in the wall. Scrambling across to his right, Henderson. Good strong right hand, and able to then pounce on the second ball, and then the quick distribution to Mousse.
England's number one is the cry from the Sheffield United supporters. I've got to say, we're pretty blessed in the goalkeeping department right now. You look at the likes of Jordan Pickford, of course, who is the current incumbent. Luckless Tom Heaton injured once again. Nick Pope's having a good season for Burnley. Aaron Ramsdale's probably been Bournemouth's best player. And Henderson as well, all pushing for a place in that Euro 2020 squad. Henderson making that save in front of Gareth Southgate. Here's McBurney, crosses into the area. Fleck cushions it down towards Leeds Mousse, just skipped away from him, and it should be cleared by David Martin. It is cleared into the centre circle. Decent game now all of a sudden.
It's just opening up now. West Ham, obviously, with their change of shape, they've gone a lot more open. Spaces are opening up from that point of view as well. Sheffield United looking to get the second and kill this game off.
Sheffield United fans giving their side plenty of vocal encouragement here on Premier League Live. McBurney turning on the edge of the area. Fleck thought about the shot, pokes it out to the left hand side instead. It's Stevens who comes forward, crosses against Balbuena, and it will go behind for a corner kick for Sheffield United.
Just sensing they can kill this game off now, Sheffield United. Space is opening up. McBurney now is getting a lot more of the ball in those pockets of space, getting turned, and the ball's getting played wide, and just feeling Sheffield United can get a second goal here and really make this one more comfortable.
Norwood, the captain, places the ball down. It's their 7th corner of the evening to West Ham's 2. Norwood puts the left arm in the air towards McBurney at the near post. Headed away by Snodgrass. Besic back into the danger zone, and it's comfortably enough caught by the goalkeeper Martin. The sound of oohs and ahs from behind the goal. Martin bowls it out this time to the left hand side, and Cresswell. At the moment, his mistake is going to be the deciding factor. This is always the difficult aspect for a keeper. If you do make a blunder, it tends to result in a goal.
Yeah, no one here to save you. And
he was nearly saved by the poor finish from McBurney.
He probably should have saved it, actually. Probably should have saved it, because he's scrambling back and he dives across his left and actually goes underneath his body, because he actually got there, because it wasn't a great finish from McBurney, so he'd be disappointed with that as well.
13 goal attempt from Sheffield United, 5 from West Ham, only the one on target for the visitors. I suppose when you look at the results that David Moyes has had so far, you mentioned it in the first half, they couldn't have played Bournemouth at a better time. You'd have expected them, even under Pellegrini, to win away at Gillingham with such a strong lineup. This is really the acid test, and at the moment it's one they're fouling on.
It is the first big test for David Moyes, and they've been poor, West Ham, I have to say. Sheffield United have been a better side. Second half, they've been the team that have kind of stepped up, created the better chances, obviously got that goal. There hasn't been a lot of quality on the finishing, and he thought maybe it might be a mistake that would get a team in front, and that has been proven to be the case. But they'll keep going to the end. 10 minutes to go with the game open, and Sheffield United still pushing forward, looking to get a second. They'll still feel that they're not out of this game as well.
Neat turn from Stevens to get away from Zabaleta. McBurney takes over, those socks rolled down, Steve Claridge style for our older listeners. Looks a bit ungainly. McBurney.
He doesn't look like a footballer, does he, at all?
Looks like he's won his number 9 jersey in a raffle.
I think that's part of the surprise. I think as a defender, you look at him and think, you can't play football. There's nothing of you. You don't even look like you could hold the ball up, and he certainly surprises you. He's a very good player.
It's McBurney's goal at the moment that is going to give Sheffield United the victory.
Looks can be deceiving, as they say.
Henderson forward, collected by Cresswell, well inside his own half, plays it forward. Oh, and that's a slip as well by Egan on the edge of the area. He's passed it straight to Lanzini, who shoots at the near post, and it's beaten away by the goalkeeper Henderson, but really Lanzini took the wrong option.
Yeah, really poor from Egan. It's a ball in the channel. Lanzini's only half chasing, really doesn't deal with it, slips over. Lanzini, though, it's a really poor decision, trying to shoot from that angle on the near post. He's never going to beat Henderson from there. He has to look to try and square that to Haller. or Anderson coming in. Really poor decision.
Snodgrass with the corner, aimed in towards Ogbonna, heads it down, but again, safe pair of hands from Henderson. I think he's had a really good game, the Sheffield United goalkeeper.
He has. He's been assured everything that's been asked of him. He's done really well. Just seeing the Lanzini chance again. He's got to look to square that from that angle. That needs to be a really good finish, especially trying to fire that in on the near post where the keeper's already standing.
He's had one or two nervy moments, John Egan.
Yeah. They haven't done that enough though. They haven't stuck it in behind enough, West Ham. They haven't had runners in behind, and that's what happens when defenders are running towards their own goal under pressure. Sometimes you can force mistakes and things can happen, but it's been too comfortable for Sheffield United defensively. Everything's been in front of them.
Well, Lys Mousset's offside here, so it's going to be a free kick for West Ham down by their own corner flag, and it's going to be another change for David Moyes. Pablo Fornals, the big money summer signing from Villarreal, is replacing Manuel Lanzini. Largely underwhelming performance from Lanzini over the course of the evening.
Another one. I can't be too critical of him because he's had a lot of injuries, come back from an ACL, I think then done his shoulder as well, so I still think he's trying to find himself, but you just expect so much more from him with the talent and ability that he has.
It's going to be a change as well for Sheffield United. Ollie McBurney, the goal scorer, to a warm ovation. He's replaced by the darling of Bramall Lane, Billy Sharp. No player in English football has scored more goals this century than Billy Sharp, 228 of them. Only one this season. I was there at Bournemouth when he came on to grab a late equaliser on the opening day of the season. If he gets a chance, Danny, he usually puts it away.
He certainly does. Fantastic goal scorer over the years. I played against him a couple of times actually, and scored against me as well. I thought I had him tied up for most of the game. He had one chance and stuck it in the back of the net. I think he was playing for Forest, I think, at that time. But being a goal scorer all his career, and a great person to have to bring off the bench. Obviously fantastic in the dressing room as well. If I was hearing right now, maybe he was told maybe he could go in the window. I'm not so sure. Chris Wilder said so it would be a little bit disappointing, but
he's on tonight. He's found Lys Mousset inside the penalty area. Sheffield United have changed both their front men. I think it's a reflection really on just how hard Ollie McBurney in particular has worked this evening. So too McGoldrick, although he was taken off. Sheffield United now 5 minutes away from the victory. Baldock rolls it to the edge of the penalty area, and Bashamu was forward. In comes the cross from Norwood, nervously cleared by Ogbonna, but West Ham have got it back. Little back heel from Allaire finds Noble, and here is Felipe Anderson up over the halfway. Besic sliding in. He's going to get a booking here. I think he's a little bit unlucky, Besic, because I think he got some of the ball.
That's a yellow. He knows what he's doing there. He wants to halt the counter attack.
All right, he got none of the ball. He got none of the ball.
I warned you about him. That's why I was confronting him in the tunnel. That's the kind of thing he does. And look, it's a clever foul in the end, but it could injure a player as well. Anderson running at speed, he knows exactly what he's doing there. No interest in getting the ball. He just wants to halt the counter attack. Slightly high there as well on the shin.
I wonder if he's going to get a Danny Gabardon type character lurking in the tunnel menacingly as he comes off Mohamed Besic.
I don't know. I don't know if West Ham have enough players like that in their dressing room, to be honest with you. I think that's part of their problem. Not enough leaders, not enough aggression going on at times, but it's a clever foul from Besic. Breaking up play there, halting the counter attack.
Mikel Antonio has travelled with the West Ham squad tonight, but fit enough only for a watching brief from the stands. How much have they missed his endeavour this evening?
Massively. He's their key player. He transforms them in an attacking sense more than any other attacking player for West Ham, because he's direct, he's powerful, he gives them counter-attacking threat. He actually wants to run in behind. He wants to drive at defenders and make things happen. I don't see enough of of West Ham's attacking players wanting to do that. Felipe Anderson, the prime example. That's something that he should be doing. So keeping him fit, is going to be key, Mikel Antonio, because he just brings a different dimension.
I just wonder if they've got enough players with heart in this team, West Ham. Too many number 10s for me, too many flair players. They just aren't delivering. Here comes Snodgrass delivering the free kick. On a chance for Allaire at the far post. He heads it into the ground and over the bar. That is a gilt-edged opportunity for 1-1.
He keeps getting in on that far post. Robert Snodgrass keeps aiming for him, keeps finding him. Great delivery. I think he just does enough on the far post. I think it's Ender Stevens. He pulls off the back of him, but he just jumps knowing he's not going to get the ball, and he just puts him off, and he just heads the ball down into the ground. To me, he should be doing better, but I think Ender Stevens there just does enough to put him off.
Do you think he looks like a £45 million player, Sebastian Allaire?
I think he's one of those players that some days he will look like a £45 million player, but other days he will look like a £5 million player. I think that's the kind of player he is.
Is it more the £5 million night this season?
I think we've probably seen more of the £5 million so far this season, albeit I think he is the top goal scorer for West Ham. But
here is Baldock for Sheffield United. 1-0 they lead. We're into the 89th minute at Bramall Lane. This incredible success story shows no signs of coming to an end. They will be looking down in the Premier League table on the likes of Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham I should say. Absolutely incredible. Everton and West Ham, of course, established names in the upper echelons of English football, but Sheffield United certainly are showing no respect for reputation.
Well, they're not, and you have to say Chris Wilder's done a fantastic job. The players have been brilliant first half of the season, but I think on the flip side of that, you could say, is the Premier League as good as we think it is outside of the top 5-6 teams? I think finishing positions outside of the top 6-7 teams, anything is kind of possible for me. You can go in any order, so I don't know, maybe you can look at it that way as well, but let's not take too much away from Sheffield United and what they've brought to the Premier League this season. They've been outstanding.
What will please him tonight, Chris Wilder, if they do go on and see out this victory? It will mean that they've taken more points at home than away. It wasn't the case coming into the game. 15 of their 29 points have come away from Bramall Lane, and like any newly promoted side, it is important to turn your home ground into a fortress. Here's Declan Rice, a slaloming run towards the United penalty area, headed clear though by Basham. Sharp lays it back for Ender Stevens in the left back position. He goes long upfield for Mousset. He's won that well, Mousset, against Balbuena, and then he's got the better of Noble as well. Found Billy Shove. I think Danny Gabardon is indicating to my left that was probably a foul on Noble.
No, I don't think it was. I just couldn't believe that Mark Noble got bullied like that.
Here's Fleck, away from Noble again, little back heel, and Stevens has continued his run forward from left back. Mousset's gone down on the edge of the area. Referee's seen it and allows play to continue because Sheffield United is still on the attack with Baldock inside the box. He's away from Cresswell, tries to pull it back. I think he'd run it out anyway. In fact, the referee doesn't whistle. It's a good save by Martin at the near post, but they've given it away again, West Ham. Stevens, as we move into 3 added minutes at the end of the game. Sharp lays it off for Fleck. They just need to keep the ball now, the home team, and run down the clock. Fleck plays it back to the halfway line sensibly. Here is Egan on the edge of the centre circle. It's been a really professional job from Sheffield United since they took the lead. 9 minutes into the second half, McBurney cashing in on the error from Martin, the sub-goalkeeper for West Ham.
I think professional is the spot-on word to use. As good as Sheffield United are, well, one of the reasons they are as good as they are because they make the right decisions on the ball as well. They recognise when they can go forward and counter-attack and go for the jugular, but then they realise if the counter-attack's not on, they'll turn back out and they'll keep the ball and they'll keep possession.
Here's Rice though, bulldozing his way forward for West Ham, and he's played it into Snodgrass. Snodgrass is shot, and he's squeezed it into the near post. Henderson got a hand to it, but couldn't keep it out. And Robert Snodgrass is off the bench to rescue a point, surely for West Ham in the dying minutes. Sheffield United 1, West Ham 1.
Well, that's a dagger to the heart of Sheffield United and Chris Wilder. He'll be livid. They just get caught on a counter-attack. They're keeping possession. They turn the ball over. It's a long ball kind of flied forward. Hallow flicks the ball on. Egan gets a little bit unlucky, looks to step in. Declan Rice then picks up the seconds. He's stronger than Egan, and they just get kind of dragged out of shape then. Declan Rice just plays a little square ball to Snodgrass. I have to say that's a really good finish, because he doesn't have a lot of the goal to aim at on his weaker right foot, and he just fires it in low at Henderson's near post. I think he's expecting him to go across the goal there. I think it's a combination of maybe hitting his hand onto the post and into the back of the net, but that is a dagger to the heart of West Ham, because they haven't deserved that.
Well, there is a VAR check here for a handball from Declan Rice in the build-up, and I think it does strike the arm.
It does.
And that will mean this goal is going to be ruled out. Any kind of contact with the hand, deliberate or not, from the attacker, and they will rule it out.
Yeah, it was just a clash between the two players. Egan was coming across, and he just heads the ball onto Declan Rice's hand, and then the momentum of them coming together, and Egan goes down on the floor. Declan Rice runs away with the ball.
It's ruled out. Michael Oliver has made the television symbol, and the goal will not stand. David Moyes, who have been hopping about, punching the air on the touchline, suddenly is ashen-faced. VAR to Sheffield United's rescue.
Well, that's what VAR can do to you. David Moyes running down the touchline, celebrating like he was Jose Mourinho at Old Trafford. VAR intervenes and the goal gets disallowed, and it's the correct decision. With the handball rule now, I don't think Declan Rice could do much about it. He's remonstrating, not happy with it. But if the ball hits the hand now and the attacking team goes on to score a goal, it has to get brought back. So West Ham can have no complaints.
Well, the irony is that Chris Wilder has probably been one of the most outspoken managers in the Premier League.
He has,
against VAR. Well, he might change his tune tonight.
Unbelievable.
Sheffield United 1, West Ham 0. We've played the 3 added minutes, and Chris Wilder has just come out to the edge of the technical area, put both hands to his mouth, whistled to get the attention of his players, and basically said, let's get switched on, let's get the ball upfield and keep it there.
Well, this game never ceases to amaze me. Forgot about VAR. We haven't spoken about it all night, and
well, I did look for offside, and he was being played on Snodgrass by George Baldock, who just stayed back behind the rest of the Sheffield United defence, but we didn't see the handball. Michael Oliver didn't see the handball. Chris Kavanagh, watching at Stockley Park, did. What a big moment it should turn out to be. 95 minutes played now. Sheffield United 1, West Ham 0. And Sheffield United have a throw on the halfway line, which is going to be taken, I think, by Chris Basham. Hurls it forward. Snodgrass, who thought he'd scored against Sheffield United for the 3rd match running, clears it forward. Volleyed back towards the penalty area by Snodgrass. Allaire wins the header. Still time. Oh, it's a great challenge by Fleck, sliding in to get there ahead of Fornals, and Sheffield United now will just try and keep the ball by the corner. It's with Billy Sharp. He's got Balbuena and Zabaleta for company. Zabaleta fouled him, but there goes the full-time whistle. Well, many West Ham fans made the journey to Bramall Lane wearing Carlos Tevez masks, but it's Sheffield United and Chris Wilder who've had the last laugh, courtesy of a stoppage time act of salvation from VAR after Robert Snodgrass thought he cancelled out McBurney's opener. McBurney cashing in on a blunder from David Martin, the substitute goalkeeper for West Ham. The Snodgrass goal didn't stand due to a handball from Declan Rice. David Moyes far from happy. Sheffield United absolutely delighted. They're up to 5th in the table, Danny, and probably, despite the late drama, it's a correct outcome.
Yeah, I think so. Sheffield United with a better team. Late drama at the end there. Almost a smash and grab from West Ham, but VAR intervening. And I think they deserved the luck, Sheffield United, because they were the better team. Second half was much better. Obviously, the mistake from David Martin was a poor one. Allowed McBurney to get Sheffield United in front. And then they looked like the team that was probably going to go on and get the second goal and finish the game more comfortably. And then the late drama at the end, feeling like it's almost a dagger in the heart with West Ham scoring late, but VAR coming to the rescue. and rightly so for me, because I think Sheffield United were by far the better team and deserved to get all the 3 points which they have.
David Martin is almost apologising to the West Ham fans behind the goal away to our left as he makes his way off. Scenes of celebration for Sheffield United at the other end. My thanks to Danny for his expert analysis this evening. Don't forget, more live football tomorrow. Palace against Arsenal at 12:30 gets us underway. That's followed by United against Norwich at 3, with the goals they go in from elsewhere, and then Spurs Liverpool, the big game of the day, at 5:30 UK time. Here at Bramall Lane, though, it's another win for Sheffield United. You're listening to Premier League Live. West Ham have got a problem. Lucas Fabianski, when he took that last goal kick, he immediately, Danny, put his right hand in the air to signal to the bench that something wasn't right. But I can tell you, David Martin is already stripped and ready for action. This is a major issue for David Moyes and for West Ham. It will be cleared now by the yellow-shirted David Martin high into the Sheffield United half. That's a nervy header back towards his own goal. And here is Felipe Anderson from 14 yards out. Drags the shot wide, and John Egan is the most relieved man inside Bramall Lane. Swung in by Norwood. It's only cleared as far as John Fleck, who shoots left-footed. Blocked first time on the follow-up, just wide of the bottom corner. Fleck gets 2 bites for the cherry. Much better from Sheffield United. First strike gets blocked, comes back out to him, catches the second one much sweeter, just shaves past that left-hand post for David Martin, not too far away. Ball kick out from Martin, seized upon by Fleck, into McBurney. He must score this time. Does score off the goalkeeper. It wasn't the cleanest strike in the world, but Ollie McBurney has his 4th goal of the season. It's an absolute gift from David Martin. It is Sheffield United 1, West Ham 0. Here's Rice though, bulldozing his way forward for West Ham, and he's played it into Snodgrass. Snodgrass is shot, and he's squeezed it into the near post. Henderson got a hand to it, but couldn't keep it out. And Robert Snodgrass is off the bench to rescue a point, surely, for West Ham in the dying minutes. Well, there is a VAR check here for a handball. It's ruled out. Michael Oliver has made the television symbol, and the goal will not stand. David Moyes, who have been hopping about, punching the air on the touchline, suddenly is ashen-faced. VAR to Sheffield United's rescue.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast, Monday morning from 6 on TalkSport.
He'd like to build the world a bar and furnish it with booze, with champagne trees and cocktail bees and fountains of homebrew. He'd like to buy the world a drink. Cheers! A bottle of Chablis, a whiskey sour at happy hour. A magnum of folly, that's a Brazil thing.
And a wine bar.
It's the real thing.
What's wrong with that?
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
The morning pickup that refreshes the parts other breakfast shows just can't reach.
Monday morning from 6 on TalkSport.
Spitspot.
It's a classic afternoon radio emission from the other side. Hawksby and Jacobs deceased. After a joke about Chelsea went catastrophically wrong and died, Andy Jacobs was transported to a parallel lunchtime netherworld.
Only you can hear me, Paul. Only you.
Only me and 3 million listeners, Andy.
Banished to spend eternity wearing white suits, unearthing spectacularly big-named interviews, and bringing a new spectral dimension to radio entertainment.
And occasionally materialising in ladies' changing rooms.
That was a genuine mistake. I thought it was the kebab shop next door.
Investigate the annals of Hawksby and Jacobs deceased. Weekday afternoons from 1.
I've gone. What does it matter?
On TalkSport.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
This is the time of the year where you've got to have your horses right.
Weekday mornings from 6.
And you backed them on the nose.
On
Talk Sport.
I'm Sam Matterface and this is Game Day. Talk Sport has your weekend covered as we give you a series of exclusive podcasts bringing you total coverage of the Premier League with a trio of top podcasts. On Thursday, myself and a legendary lineup of pros and pundits will preview the action to all 10 Premier League matches.
On Saturday, it's Your Verdict with me, Laura Woods, and Adrian Durham, bringing you all the reaction and the very best of the phone-in.
On Monday morning, it's the turn of the record book with me, Danny Kelly. I'll be joined by the very best guests as we look back at all the weekend's action, going down the odd tangent as well.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast, Monday morning from 6 on Talk Sport.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. My, oh my, what a beautiful day. Folly and horses coming my way. Only 4 hours, magical pay.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
Hospitality knocks for Alan Brazil.
Monday morning from 6 on Talk Sport.